Donald Trump spoke in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and a bunch of moments here to play for you, some off-the-rails stuff. And I want to start with something we see a lot of these speeches, which is for all the talk, and I admit some of it has to be true if he's gotten together this big of a cult, but for all the talk of his ability to connect with audiences of people, there are these long stretches of time during his speeches where the audience just seems profoundly confused about what he's talking about and isn't super engaged. And here you'll notice the difference between an engaged crowd when he's not rambling about how much he loves Xi Jinping and instead talking about the fiercest of women. They sort of, yeah, woohoo. And then he'll get to Biden having low IQ. They can engage with that. But all of the stuff in between where he's rambling about just how brilliant Xi Jinping is, and the press hates when I say this, but I have to say he governs with an iron fist. Oh, I would love it. That part, they don't get why he's so fixated on, as you can tell by the crowd behind him and the silence. So here it is, and then we have much more to look at.
Can you imagine these killers, these are sharp. You know, the press gets angry. They said, is President Xi of China, is he a smart man? I said, no, he's a brilliant man. He controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. He makes guys like Biden look like babies. They don't even know whether they're coming or going. Yes, he's the next day headline, Trump calls him brilliant. How dare? No, okay. Let's say he's not a smart man. Okay, whatever makes you happy. No matter what you do, I say he's a brilliant man. They went crazy because I called him brilliant. So I'm just...
What is this? He's just all up in his own head. We don't really know why this is such a fixation of his. Yes, we do. But why he has to talk about it so much. The crowd doesn't quite get it. I'll show you a clip of an interview I did with a Trump supporter showing many of his supporters don't even know that this is how much he loves these authoritarians. Because that's what this is about. Him maybe not even loving them for them, but wanting what they have, which is why he can't get this off of his mind. Similar to the Hannibal Lecter thing. No one knows why he keeps saying the late, great Hannibal Lecter. No one actually cares that much. It's just being reported on. But then Trump gets in this cycle, this sort of circular reasoning that he has where he says something that's obviously going to get reported on, and then he talks about it again because it's being reported on, but that's because he said it. So then he just keeps going around and round and round, and no one quite understands.
Could have to say, he's okay. No, he's very smart. But and you know what else? He's a fierce person. Do you understand that? Some of the people here know that, what this means, especially some of the women, right? They know better than the men about fierce. I know the women. They know better than the men. They're more fierce than the men. Oh, her.
See, so that's the difference. Now they're, oh yeah, fierce women, we're good for that. Just don't go back to the Xi Jinping thing. We're confused on that one.
But no, he's a fierce individual.
And
he's
we're
a
back.
Fierce man. Can you imagine when he meets this guy? He thinks Trump is playing a joke on him. He actually thinks there's some kind of that I'm playing a joke. He doesn't believe what happened. He doesn't believe the last election. He thinks I'm playing a joke on him. But can you imagine?
You got this lady on her phone. You got a bunch of straight faces. And Trump just keeps on going.
President Xi, Putin, all of them, they're all smart, tough. They love their country, or they want to do well with their country, whatever it is, all ideology. But we have to have somebody that can protect us. And Orban was right. We have to have somebody that can...
Okay, so we get it. I'll stop that there. As a reminder of this conversation I had with a Trump supporter, I'll play you the TikTok we posted. You can find us on TikTok at Luke Beasley Official. He thinks that Trump has the exact opposite stance as Trump actually does. Then we'll get to some more clips from that speech. What motivates your support of Trump?
I mean, he did some fantastic stuff for this country. Take care of Putin, take care of Xi over there in China, take care of the little Korean guy over there shooting the rockets off.
But you kind of like how much he loves them?
Loves who?
Xi Jinping, the people we're mentioning, Kim Jong-un.
Xi Jinping.
Oh, he loves Xi Jinping.
China's great, and Xi is a great gentleman. He's now president-elect. Maybe we'll have to give that a shot someday.
Well, that's your opinion, son.
Okay.
We're all done with the interview, okay?
What motivates your support? So I'm just saying to him what is something Trump keeps saying, which is Trump thinks they're great gentlemen. He's a great man, great gentleman. talking about Xi Jinping, and he's a president for life. Maybe we should try that someday, he says. And then in every single speech, he insists, even though it's clearly not that interesting to his audience, insists on going through a 1, 2, 3 minute rant about how the press is somehow doing something wrong for reporting on the fact that he keeps calling Xi Jinping and other authoritarians brilliant and smart and great men. And I do want to make sure that I emphasize this is not about what some Trump supporters will say in defense of the rhetoric, which is, oh no, this is just him being really good at diplomacy, so he gets along with even the bad ones. And I understand the value of being able to have productive conversations with really bad leaders, because you got to deal with the leaders that are in power. That's different than Trump clearly indicating through this constant obsession and fixation his own admiration for a certain aspect of these leaders, which is their authoritarian power. Because when he says he's so brilliant and immediately follows that up with because he rules with an iron fist, you're getting an indication of why it is he finds Xi Jinping and these other authoritarians to be so quote unquote brilliant, or why they're great men. And it's the power they have. Him not being able to acknowledge the way they wield that power is hugely destructive. Suffering of the masses, oppression of the masses. He doesn't see that. All he sees is the general standing at attention, as he said about Kim Jong-un. And he wants his generals to stand at attention. Again, his quote, not mine, etc. Millions of people every single week watch this show who are not subscribed. Please, if you're one of those people, go ahead and click that subscribe button. It's easy. It's free. I appreciate it so much. Back to the video. Now, moving on from there. Trump did once again make this false claim.
You know, years ago, they gave me in Michigan the Man of the Year. That was long before I was a politician. I was a business guy. I did well. I liked the state, but I don't know. I heard Man of the Year, Michigan. I said, that's cool. That's good. I'm going to make that trip. I didn't know why they were giving it to me. Nothing, but they were giving it to me for, I guess, the fact that I employed a lot of people. I did real well. This is probably 14 years ago. And I
absolutely no record of that award ever existing or Trump ever getting such an award, but he says it nevertheless. Then he ironically says this. By the way, that's what the engaged version of the crowd looks like. He'd probably just said something anti-trans or something. They get really pumped about that.
You're not going to teach a criminal not to be a criminal. Not going to happen. And you don't have the time, you don't have the energy because you have to do other things. That is why as soon as I take the oath of office, we will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of our country, even larger than that of President.
All right, I see what it was about. So yeah, that's what will get a loud cheer, not the Xi Jinping's brilliant. And the press, they don't want to be honest about that. By the way, separate from what we've addressed many times, which is this deportation plan of Trump's, him saying, and this is the ironic part, you're not going to teach a criminal not to be a criminal. You're a criminal. You don't even have to say that derogatorily to assert it, because it's true. It's just a fact that's been litigated in a criminal trial. Then he indicates a little bit about his own insecurities by saying,
but you know, when I was building the wall, I said, you have to give us 28,000 soldiers. And they laughed at me. I hate when people laugh at me. I hate it. I hate it. No, it's so disrespectful. They laughed at me. We won't do that.
And that was not the only time he was laughed at. Here, addressing the United Nations General Assembly, Trump was laughed at.
In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Yeah. The nations of the world were not exactly buying the success of the Trump administration, according to Trump. Then Trump sets his sights on Kamala Harris, of course, as is the case with all of these Republicans physically incapable, it would seem, based on their behaviors, to properly pronounce the name of one of the most famous individuals in the world.
From the moment we take back the White House from crooked Joe Biden and Kamala, I call her Laughing Kamala. You ever watch her laugh? She's crazy. You know, you can tell a lot by a laugh. No, she's crazy. She's nuts. She's not as crazy as Nancy Pelosi. Crazy Nancy.
You know, I've been thinking, if this even were to happen, but the reason he's going after her now is because there's some speculation, much speculation, that number one, Biden may end up dropping out, and number two, if he did, she would replace him as the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. And if she did, what we're hearing is that MAGA folks, Trump campaign leadership, want to be prepared to go after her. So they're laying the groundwork already. And I have to say, if their best attack against her is about her laugh, we may be in a better spot than some are predicting. Here's more.
And you know, the other side's going around trying to make me sound extreme, like I'm an extremist. I'm not. I'm a person with great common sense. I'm not an extremist at all. Like some on the right, severe right, came up with this Project 25, and I don't even know. I mean, some of them I know who they are, but they're very, very conservative, just like you have. They're sort of the opposite of the radical left, okay? You have the radical left and you have the radical right, and they come up with this, I don't know what the hell it is, it's Project 25. He's involved in Project, and then they read some of the things, and they are extreme. I mean, they're seriously extreme. But I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it. But what they do is misinformation and disinformation.
Yeah, and we've gone through that claim many times. For political reasons, he's desperately trying to distance himself from Project 2025 because he understands the unpopularity of much of what's being planned there. But we've also heard him publicly claim that he's going to do a bunch of the things in Project 2025. Plus, we don't believe him when he says all these really close allies of his who created a plan have nothing to do with him, as many of them have indicated otherwise. And also, we know if he were to win in November, the people he'd be staffing his administration with would be the people who wrote Project 2025. So whether he thinks he's going to do it or not, whether he's lying or telling the truth, that's what we're going to see implemented, shown by the personnel he'd be selecting and his own public statements about his own plans and how it aligns. Here's more.
Get ready, Tom Homan. Inflation will be in full retreat. Our economy will be roaring back. Optimism will be surging. You will have your confidence back. We don't have any confidence. That's like an athlete that can't sink the shot, can't hit the ball, lost his calm. We're going to have you hitting the ball again. We're going to have you playing at the top of your game. The American. Get ready.
So, what to address there? I guess I'll just say inflation is already retreating, to use the term that he used. And the economy is already roaring with its problems, especially impressive given the place that Biden had to take over within, the shambles that were left when Trump left office. So it's interesting that this vision for what's ahead can rely on misinterpretations of where we are now. Again, still a lot of problems, but progress has been rapid in recent years from where the Biden administration and Democrats had to start after the disaster that was left for them. Here's Trump going after Nancy Pelosi.
She's not as crazy as Nancy Pelosi. Crazy Nancy. Did you see Nancy Pelosi is selling out Biden now? Did you see? She turned on him like a dog. Well, I don't know if he should continue. All of a sudden, where did that come from? She was 100%. All of a sudden, she's not sure. Not sure means he's gone. But no, she's crazy as a bed bug. She's a crazy person.
Oh, goodness. Crazy as a bed bug. You know, what I think got that clip flagged was him saying she turned on Biden like a dog, because Trump has a long history of very bizarre thoughts and feelings that he'll express about dogs. He has a wild perception of dogs. Turned on him like a dog. Here's the Second Amendment related part.
And I will fully uphold our very important but under siege Second Amendment, as I did for 4 years. And I got the full endorsement from the NRA. You saw that. They gave us their full, strongest endorsement. No, for 4 years I protected, and it was not that easy to do.
I wonder how long these MAGA folks, or just people on the right, will be able to hear that the Second Amendment is this close to being altogether thrown in the garbage before they go, maybe that's just ridiculous fear-mongering. Maybe the regulations and gun laws being proposed by most Democrats, definitely mainstream Democrats, are not a violation of our Second Amendment rights, but instead would do a fantastic job of making people safer if you do indeed take advantage of that right. Then you have
It's people from insane asylums, and it drives them crazy. Hannibal Lecter, the late great Hannibal Lecter, would like to have you for dinner. He wants you for dinner. That's the end of you, by the way.
I don't know what that is about. And then, you know how after the horrific assassination attempt on Trump's life, you heard a lot of MAGA folks say that this was something that should be blamed on the left or Democrats. We've since learned that makes absolutely no sense given the background and ideology of this shooter. But it made even less sense because one of the bits of evidence they would cite as to why that's justified is, hey, you were calling Trump a fascist, and that provoked this attack. Well, first of all, I disagree with that premise, and also Trump is constantly saying stuff like,
You know, we talk about Biden like he's a feeble old guy, and he is. But it's the people that surround him. I mean, he's perfect for them. This is the fascists and communists and some bad people surround him. I know just about all of them.
yeah. So you can stop with that talking point, MAGA. Let me know what you thought of that in the comments. If you want to get extra content on the regular, daily, at least Monday through Friday, you can do so by clicking the join button below.